Hello and welcome back to Kingdom Reviews. I'm your host, Future Keybearer, and today I'll be giving you my final thoughts on Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Story. Honestly, this is one of my favorite stories in the series. It really showed off Sora's greatest character trait. He's loyal to a fault. He will always do whatever he can to protect his friends, even when he was at the point of losing his memories. It may have affected certain elements of his personality, but his dedication was still intact, which speaks loads about his character. I also liked his interactions with Donald and Goofy a lot better than in the first game. Because there are more instances where the group is by themselves, they have more opportunities to talk with each other. And then there's Jiminy. In the first game, he only ever came out to talk when Pinocchio was involved. Seriously, he never had anything to say over the course of the entire first game? Well, here he does. And honestly, I think he was a great part of the dynamic between these characters. Sora is the headstrong leader, Donald is the hothead with a heart of gold, Goofy is the emotional center, and Jiminy was the level head. Now, Riku's story was very different. His journey to overcome his past mistakes makes for an interesting story, and I like the resolution of Riku accepting the darkness and using it to make himself stronger. Problem is, it could have been handled a lot better. Again, I feel like they missed an opportunity with the card world to explore Riku's side of KH1. Also, his acceptance of the darkness was kinda sudden. For most of the game, he tries desperately to cast away the darkness, but once Naminé as Kairi tells him he can benefit from it, he makes a complete 180. I think the transition should have been more gradual. Like, he starts the game scared of the darkness, but the more he ends up using it, thanks to Ansem unlocking his dark mode, the more he starts to see the benefits in it. But he still fears it, and he doesn't want to lose himself to Ansem again. And it's not until Naminé's encouragement that he finally embraces his darkness. But overall, I liked the stories in this game, largely because it was more of a character study than a typical save-the-world plot. Gameplay. Okay, it seems like people either love this game's combat or hate it, with the majority being in the hate camp. Personally, I love it. It's a lot more methodical than the first game's combat. It asks you to really think about how you build your deck and how you act in battle. But the great part is, you don't have to if you don't want to. You could very well easily get away with just equipping your deck with the strongest cards you have and button mash your way through the entire game. Well, at least you can in Sora's story. In Riku's story, because you have a series of preset decks that often don't have a lot of high value cards, you really have to be careful in combat. I like the duel system that the PS2 had, but I have mixed feelings about dark mode. My main problem is activating it can actually screw you over if you're not careful. I can't count how many times I tried to call Mickey to heal me, only to have it break an enemy card and activate dark mode, thus canceling Mickey's ability. Aside from that though, I do believe that the card system gives the game more replayability than the first game. The random element of collecting cards for your deck in Sora's story, and collecting map cards in both stories, means that you'll never run through the game the same way twice. So while the card system may seem frustrating or even intimidating, it's actually a lot of fun if you give it a chance. Presentation. Starting with the GBA version, yeah, it looks fine. Yeah, that's really all I can say about it. The GBA was never the most graphically impressive system, and Square did a good job with the 2.5D gameplay. As for the PS2 version, it somehow manages to look better and worse than the first game. The character models and environments were well animated, but the motion blur looks really weird. A good example of this is when Riku gets his ass kicked by Lexius.
Don't mock me!
Another issue is the lip animations. I'm pretty sure they reanimated the lip movements in the first game to match the English dialogue. Here, they very clearly never touched the animations. They did try to make the dub match the lip movements as best they could, but it didn't work out for the most part. Sound design. Seeing as how most of the music is from the first game, and the new music was still composed by Yoko Shimomura, it's all good. They did a really good job of compressing the music for the GBA version as well, especially with Simple and Clean. As far as voice acting, Haley Joel Osment and David Gallagher reprise their roles as Sora and Riku and do a great job. Richard Epcar replaces Billy Zane as Ansem, and you can't even tell the difference. Then there's Megan Martin as Naminé. She takes over for Brittany Snow, whose performance we'll talk about another day, and much like Epcar, she does a pitch-perfect job. All the voice actors for the organization do a great job and fill each of their characters with unique personalities. Tony Anselmo, Bill Farmer, and Eddie Carroll do a great job as Donald, Goofy, and Jiminy respectively. The only real issue I have is Wayne Allwine as Mickey. And I hate to say that, but this was one of Allwine's last performances as Mickey, and it really shows. It may have been because of his dwindling health or something, but it sounds like he just can't do the voice as well anymore. It's not his fault or anything, it's just very noticeable. Summary. I understand the grievances against this game. The card system is a bit intimidating, and it does retread a lot of old ground. But if you can get past that, you'll find a deep combat system and great character-based stories. And that's where I stand on Chain of Memories. Tune in next time as we go over some trivia about the game.